have arrived at Crimson Shadow, Chapter 28, Gabby's Point of View. The Crimson Shadow Pack is a big pack with almost 1,000 wolves in it. They are in the Tahoe National Forest, and the woods are absolutely stunning. We passed a large lake on our way to Camptonville, CA, and I wished we had time to stop by and just see the water, as I really missed getting to sit and listen to the lake waves. The wind was up today, so the waves would be too. I was looking out the window with interest as we got closer and closer to the Crimson Shadow Pack. Now that I knew that I wouldn't be forced to stay here, I felt better about the visit. I'm glad that I had mentioned it to Vaughn quietly in the back seat when I asked if I had to stay here. Vaughn quickly said, "No, honey, you are coming back with us. You belong in our pack. We will be making that very clear when we are speaking with Alpha Wyatt and Luna Eve. Don't worry about a thing, little one. We will be taking care of this." The SUV slowed down and we took an unmarked paved road into the forest. After about 4 minutes, we arrived at the gate and my heart started beating louder. After getting cleared through the gate, Heath glanced up and looked at me in the mirror and told me, "Calm down, baby girl. I can hear your heart racing. No one is going to hurt you here. We are just talking to them, and then we will have the party tonight, and we will head back to Evergreen tomorrow. I promise you, Gabby, it is all going to be okay. Remember what I told you, stay with Alan and Hudson if you are not with me." I nodded in agreement as we moved closer to the huge pack house. It was as big as the one we have at Evergreen, and we have a lot of people there and living in houses all over the Packlands, so they must be a very large pack too. Heath pulled up to the front and stopped the SUV. A man in his mid-20s greeted us as we exited the vehicle and introduced himself as being the beta for Crimson Shadow, Jared Moore. Beta Moore was handsome and looked about 25 years old. He was 6'2" tall, and he clearly worked out. He had an easygoing smile, and I bet all the ladies liked. His sun-streaked blonde hair reminded me of Derek's, and my heart clenched a little. But Beta Moore's eyes were a hazel colour on the brown side, not brown like Derek's. He gave me a practised grin, and Alpha Heath stepped in front of me and gave Beta Moore a look. Heath can be intimidating to others with a smile on his face. I'm sure this poor Beta just got the crap scared out of him. Beta Moore advised us that breakfast was still being served if we wanted to go and grab some after we put our bags upstairs. Alpha Heath advised that we would come down shortly after we had been shown to our rooms. It was 7:50 a.m. and Heath had made great time, and we had not stopped, so we still had over an hour to get down to grab some breakfast. I would probably just grab an apple, as I was really nervous right now. Heath and Vaughn went to put their stuff up in their room, as did Alan and Hudson. Luna Liz and I put our stuff up, and Luna Liz advised that she had a lady that was going to come and do our hair and makeup for the ball. She wanted me to look my best for the party. I didn't know how to put makeup on anyway, and would always take help from wherever I could get it, so I was happy with the help coming. The party was advised as starting at 6 p.m, so the lady was going to be there at 4 to get us all ready. Luna Liz's hair was in a short bob, and she did it herself, so that would save time for Von's and my hair to get done, and makeup all around, as Luna Liz thought that it would be a fun treat for us all. We stepped into the hallway, and Alan and Hudson were already waiting for us, with Heath and Vaughn exiting their room a minute later, and we all went down to grab something to eat. I stuck with the apple, and it didn't escape the notice of Vaughn and Heath. I just smiled and told them, "After the meeting, I will get more at lunch. I'm just nervous right now." They nodded in agreement, and they went to get their food. Alan and Hudson stayed with me until they all came back to the table, and then they both went to the breakfast buffet and filled up their plates and came back to the table. I could see some people looking over at us with interest, but with Heath and Alan at the table, everyone stayed back from us. Alan, at 9 a.m. we have a meeting with Alpha Wyatt and Luna Eve, but I need Gabby to stay outside for the first part of it, at least while we speak to them at first. Gabby doesn't actually need to be present for the first half of the meeting, so if you and Hudson could just stay outside the door with her, I would appreciate it, Heath told them, and they both nodded in agreement as they ate. I'm now wondering what they need to discuss for the first half of the meeting, but it probably doesn't concern me, so that was most likely the reason for me not being present. I don't want to bother them when they are having meetings anyway, so I tend to avoid them when I can. I will just play on my phone while I wait with them outside the office. At 8:50, Heath, Vaughn and Luna Liz excuse themselves to the restrooms, and I go with the women, as I know I am supposed to stay with someone at all times. Alan and Hudson take the opportunity to go as well, as they know they are not to leave me alone here. We are all there at the door to Alpha Wilson's office at 3 minutes to 9. I see Vaughn and Heath are both nervous, so I go over and give them both a hug to help them calm down. I have never seen Heath nervous, not the first time, but he is clearly nervous now. Beta Moore is noted as coming up to the door and asking if they are ready to start the meeting, and Heath nods and grabs Vaughn's hand. Beta Moore knocks on the door and is advised he could enter. I had brought my items with me, as Luna Liz had instructed me, and they were neatly folded and sitting on the bench next to me, and the bench was across the hallway from the Alpha's office. Hudson was sitting on the bench next to me, next to the baby items, and Alan was standing next to me. They were about 5 minutes into the meeting when I heard an unfamiliar voice scream, "What?" very loudly from the office, and Beta Moore jumped up from his chair near the door like he was prepared to fight. I could see him mind blink and then glance at me before sitting down in the chair. He is now blatantly staring at me, and Alan shifts his stance to catch Beta Moore's eyes and then gives him a pointed look, and then glances down at me to let Beta Moore know that he is watching him with me. Beta Moore holds up both hands in a calming manner, like an "I am not interested in her in that way" movement, but he continues to watch me, and it is a little creepy. 5 minutes later, I hear the sound of heels on the hardwood floors, and a very attractive blonde comes into view and grins at Beta Moore, who grins back and winks at her. I see when she notices Hudson and Alan, and she saunters over to them, giving them each the once-over. She glances at me and then dismisses me and heads to the door to go into the office. "Sorry, Taylor, your parents are in a meeting. They cannot be disturbed," Beta Moore said as he got up to keep her from entering. "Can you just tell them it is me and that I need to speak with them both about my party?" the girl said, and Beta Moore mind-linked to announce her. "I'm sorry, they cannot be disturbed, and your mother said that after the meeting that she would come and find you, but that all the party plans are complete at this time, and there will be no changes," Beta Moore tells the girl, and she growls in fury and stomps her heel before remembering that we are all sitting behind her, watching her throw a fit like a toddler. "Fine, I will speak to her later," she said, before crossing the hallway to stand in front of Alan, sizing him up again, and then saying, "I hope you both save me a dance tonight, as it is my 17th birthday." She gave me another dismissive look, then frowned a little bit at me, and walked off down the hallway. "I would rather fight a bear than have anything to do with her," Hudson said, and looked at me with a "what the hell" expression on his face. "I agree. I'm actually glad we have to stick with Gabby for the whole night, and can use that as an excuse. I don't like her at all. She is spoiled rotten, and she is only 17. Whoever she ends up with is going to have his hands full with her," Alan said to Hudson, and then they both grimaced in agreement. "She is young, and apparently their only daughter, so they spoiled her. Sometimes in rich families they do that. She may not know any other way. But yes, she did come off as abrasive. I'm glad I am not going to have to stay here," I said, and I saw Beta Moore looking at me in surprise. Did I say something wrong? I'm sorry if I offended you, but she is kind of an entitled brat, I said to Beta Moore. No, I'm just surprised that you said that you are not going to stay here, Beta Moore said to me, and now it was my turn to look at him in surprise. Before he could answer, the door opened, and Vaughn reaches her hand out to me and tells me to come into the office with them. I nod and pick up the baby items and head to the office.